In lecture 8, we're going to discuss the policy implementation on land transportation security. And compared to maritime and aviation security-related policies, land transportation systems, they have been the most frequently attacked targets, okay, but receive the lowest level of security attention at all scales, international level, national level, and local level. So for example, for fiscal year 2014, a total of $5.218 billion was requested for TSA aviation security, which accounts for 70.5% of total budget proposed by TSA of that fiscal year. It means that only less than 30% of that year's budget was proposed for maritime transportation and land transportation. And furthermore, land transportation accounted less than maritime transportation security. Okay, so why has land transportation been neglected? Okay, firstly, less pressing security concerns than other two modes, especially aviation. You would say land transportation systems, they have been the most frequently attacked targets, but why is there less pressing security concerns? That's because compared to aviation and maritime attacks, land transportation attacks are there. They are more frequent, but they lead to less casualties and less impact than aviation, and then attacks on aviation and ships and maritime transportation, right? So there are a lot of attacks on land transportation systems, but are they that famous compared to one attack on September 11 of 2001 in United States? No. I'm not saying that people died or people injured in land transportation attacks. They are not important. I'm saying that in terms of the impact of a specific attack or attacks, in order to draw more attention from the media, from international society, obviously it's better to do aviation or maritime transportation attacks. Although they are more difficult than attacks on land transportation systems, but they do draw more attention and they lead to larger impact. Okay, and then the most difficult mode to protect in one sentence. Okay, here I have listed a lot of reasons here. For example, complex operators, and there are so many methods for land transportation mode. But if you're going to use one sentence to address why land transportation systems, they are more difficult to protect, that sentence is that land transportation systems, they're too complex. In terms of users, in terms of operators, or in other words, companies and individuals who are running land transportation systems. In terms of methods, right? There are cars, trucks, buses, passenger trains, cargo trains, right? Pipelines. It's just too complex, okay? The third one, lesser role in connecting countries. We have discussed this before, right? Most important countries, big countries, they're connected by oceans instead of land. So Europe is a special part of the world because there are just so many small countries connected by land boundaries. Okay, but how about the rest of the world? China, East Asian countries, and the North American and South American, right? They're all connected by what? By big oceans, such as Pacific Ocean, right? And Europe and North America and South America continents, they are connected by Atlantic Ocean, right? So aviation and maritime transportation systems, they are responsible for most passenger and cargo transportation between countries, okay? So Europe is special. That's the reason why at international level, there are organizations for land transportation system securities, but a lot of them, they are from Europe. For example, the first one I'm going to introduce is called International Working Group on Land Transport Security. It's an organization for international level land transportation security, formed in 2006 in Tokyo, in Japan. It has 2 countries plus European Union, plus the International Union of Railways and the International Association of Public Transport. So you can say the membership of this working group is flexible, right? We have countries, we have super country. European Union is a super country. You can consider it as a country, but it's not a normal country. It's a country beyond countries, right? And International Union of Railways. So USA is another organization joining IWGLS as a member of this organization, right? And another organization is also the member of IWGLTS, is called UITP. So you can see here, again, European Union is here, right? Like I said, all those small countries, European countries, in European Union, right? Since Great Britain is not a part of EU anymore, so it's safely to say that all European countries, all European Union countries, they're connected by land transportation systems, right? And the International Union of Railways, this is not an organization only for European countries, but its headquarters are in Paris, okay? UITP, its headquarters are also in Europe, Brussels, I think, right? Right. So you can say when we're talking, when it comes to land transportation system security, Europe is something you cannot avoid, you cannot dodge, right? Because all those small countries, they're connected by railways. Okay. The objectives of this working group: sharing information, right? Intelligence, creating frameworks of threat scenarios and key vulnerabilities in rail sector, does not produce international standards as those developed by IMO or ICAO. So basically, this is a very loose working group. They do not form any standards or conventions. They just work together to share information and to address threat scenarios and key vulnerabilities in mainly railway systems. Okay, and there is also declaration on public transport and anti-terrorism security. So it's a declaration. It's just like a convention, international convention that or advocate, right? So this declaration was issued by UIC and UITP. Okay, UIC and UITP. So you can imagine it's basically about railway systems, especially public railway system, passenger railway system. Okay, national authorities should share information on terrorist threats with public transport operators, develop sensors and emergency plans for attacks, organize crisis drills, etc. Okay, and within the United States, the US government has not produced a national strategy for land transportation to complement those it has established for the maritime and aviation modes. So again, like we have discussed before, land transportation security draws least attention from at least the US government, right? Compared to maritime and aviation security, okay? So there is this surface transportation security priority assessment issued by Obama administration in 2010. It made 20 recommendations, only recommendations. They are not policies or laws, okay? They're not from laws or policies to provide guidance to federal agencies with land transportation security responsibilities. The primary goals of the recommendations include enhancing security and reducing risk in public transportation, in surface transportation systems, right? Improving the efficiency and effectiveness of federal mission, organization, and program, strengthening interactive stakeholder partnerships, and using a systems management approach to transportations, to surface transportation security. Okay, and here I'm going to use several slides to introduce terrorist attacks on land transportation systems recently. Not that recent, say in the last 2 decades. Okay, so this one is 2004 Madrid train bombings. It happened on 3 commuter trains. So obviously, human beings instead of cargos, they were targets. Okay, it is the deadliest terrorist attack carried out in the history of Spain. It happened in Spain, and the deadliest in Europe since the 1988 bombing of Pan Am Flight 103, Lockerbie, right? And killed 193 people, injured around 2,000. So Al Qaeda was responsible for this attack. Happened 3 days before Spain's general election, created massive political instability. Okay, and another one happened 1 year later in 2005. We discussed this London bombings in the first lecture of this class, right? Again, Al Qaeda is responsible for it. And 2006 Mumbai bombings happened in India, still on passenger railway system. So on July 11th, 2006, 7 explosions occurred within 11 minutes on the suburban railway in Mumbai. Obviously, it was organized, right? Not lone wolf. Killed 2,009 people, injured over 700 people, right? Bombs were set off in pressure cookers. Okay, just like that bombing happened in Boston several years ago in that famous Boston Marathon event, right? Pressure cookers, they were used to contain explosives. Okay, a terrorist organization is called Lashkar-e-Khair. It is a terrorist organization possibly linked to another one is called LET, claimed responsibility. This Lashkar-e-Taiba organization is an Islamic extremist terrorist organization rooted in Pakistan. So the conflict between Pakistan and India has been there since the partition of India. I'm not sure if you know that India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, the 3 countries, they used to be one country as India before the leaving of Great Britain. India used to be the colony, one colony of Great Britain, right? And after the leaving of Great Britain, this country was divided because of religious reasons, because there are basically Muslims in India, and there are also Hindus in India, and there is this huge amity, huge conflict between these 2 religions, Hindu and Islam, right? So the country was divided into 3 countries actually, and the process was called partition, the big partition of the country. Okay, after that, the huge conflict between Pakistan and India uh, has been there since the partition. Okay, okay, and here is a figure showing incidents involving buses since 2014. Okay, buses are they're obviously a part of land transportation systems, right? In 2014, Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, African countries, right? Philippines, South Asian countries, Pakistan, Israel, Tunisia, North African country, right? Germany, China, Egypt, right? So usually it's IED, sorry. Okay, small self-made explosives. Okay, and there are several components for land transportation systems. Okay, I'm going to introduce them one by one, the security implementations on them one by one. So the first component is called mass transit and passenger rail. So from the name, you know that these systems, they are used by general public to go to work, to go home, to shop, for entertainment, like bus, subways, metro, right? So mass transit and passenger rail subdivision stands out from all other land transportation modes since it has been attacked much more frequently than any other transportation modes. Because if you, as a terrorist, if you want carrots, you attack buses or passenger railways, especially subways and metro, because they are built in cities. Cities are where people live, right? Because urbanization is happening all over the world. If you want the efficiency of killing, you attack buses and metroways and subways, okay? People rather than goods or transportation systems themselves are primary targets. A highly varied set of transportation methods operated by a highly varied population with oversight from a variety of organizations. So it's very hard, it's very complex for local government or government agencies at all levels to defend this mass transit and passenger rail systems. It's just too complex again. Security responsibilities of these systems are mainly at local level, which means local governments, they are mainly responsible for their own mass transit and passenger rail systems. Okay, so TSA is the lead federal level agency for mass transit and passenger rail security in United States here. Okay, and there are 3 principal strategic priorities from TSA for mass transit and passenger rail security, right? Firstly, increasing visible deterrence through the deployment of canine teams, K9 or dogs, right? Passenger screening teams and anti-terrorism teams. Okay, increasing infrastructure resilience by protecting the most critical tunnels, stations, bridges, etc. Okay, and fully engaging the public and transit operators in the counterterrorism mission. And these programs on mass transit and passenger rail security, they are mainly implemented through TSA's final rule on rail transportation security, okay, here in the United States. And there is always balance between civil liberties, passenger convenience, and security when we're talking about mass transit passenger screening. Okay, passenger screening here in US is not that strict compared to other countries, for example, back in China. So I'm not sure if you know that in China, in all cities who have subway systems, each passenger should be checked, screened, not patting, say that, not patting, but there is always this scanner, X-ray scanner, to scan passengers' belongings. But here in US, I mean, privacy is a more sensitive topic than a lot of other countries. So the first attempt on passenger screening in a US transit system was carried out by the Massachusetts Bay Transit Authority in Boston in July 2004. Considering the long history of public transit systems here in the US, it was pretty late to carry out passenger screening. It was 2004. Right? And the New York City Police Department and New York Metropolitan Transit Authority initiated a voluntary, it's not mandatory, okay, bag screening program at transit stations in 2005. So the first subway system in China was established in 1980s, I believe, in Beijing. But I mean, the first subway system or metroway system in US was established in the beginning of 20th century, I believe, also in Boston. I think that if I'm correct about this, but almost 100 years later, Boston started to do passenger screening. And I believe the subway system in New York is also historic. It has been there for not sure if it is longer than 1 century, but at least decades. And the first voluntary bag screening program was carried out in 2005. So you can say that the privacy of passengers here is more sensitive than at least in China. Okay, but you should know that there is always compromise between convenience, privacy of passengers, and security. Because you are not sure if a specific passenger who does not want to be checked is a terrorist or not. Okay, so that's the trick here. I mean, everybody loves freedom. I believe all people around the world, they like freedoms. They like privacy, but people have different tolerance for the protection of security. Sorry, the protection of privacy. Okay, so you should also know that, you should always know that sometimes you have to sacrifice some privacy within, within your tolerance to cooperate with the public sector to ensure the security of the public, instead of protecting only yourself's liberty and privacy and give no cares about the public. Okay, I think that's more healthy for the public. Okay. Okay, issues on passenger screening, voluntary versus mandatory. The bag checking in a lot of countries, they are mandatory instead of voluntary. You have to check your bags. You have to let the X-ray scanner to scan your bags. And there is always the balance between effectiveness and people's privacy, of course. Okay, effectiveness on stopping attacks, and the policies on passenger selecting involuntary screening, and in some mandatory screenings, the officer on the front line, officers, they have to randomly select people to do the screening. But are you sure they do not have a prejudice on selecting people? Are they going to select more colored people than white people? Are they going to select more male than female? Okay, there are a lot of issues here in terms of privacy and liberties and maybe racism. Okay. And impact on the efficiency of transit systems, because you should also consider this, that if you are doing mandatory checking, mandatory screening, the efficiency of the transit systems will be decreased because you will see a long line waiting for the what? The mandatory screening. Because obviously the screening will slow down the traffic, right? Are you going to sacrifice that? Are you going to sacrifice the efficiency of the system to protect the security of the system? Okay. Also, there is this compromise, or there is this balance between technology and privacy, because no matter you believe it or not, even nobody is patting you to examine you, or nobody is even though there is no X-ray screening scanning your bag, you think your privacy is protected. No one is touching you. No one is scanning you. You are wrong. New technologies, they can just put sensors on the wall behind a commercial. And these sensors can just scan the bags of passengers when you are walking by, and you don't even know that. Okay, so today in this modern society, privacy is rare. Okay, unless you close the door and make sure there is no monitors, there is no cameras on your computer or anywhere in your room, and you disconnect yourself from the internet. Other than that, you do not have much privacy. Let's just say that. You may not want to admit that, but yeah. But let's get back to to the transportation security here. Here is a video I want you to check. Please click it and watch it. It is about new technologies used in passenger screening. You'll see that they're actually everywhere today. Okay, if the scientists and engineers, they want to scan you and they're allowed by the local government or government agencies at all levels, they're allowed by them to scan people. They can do it anywhere. Okay, so we care about transportation security because your students with a major related to transportation systems, right? And beyond that, we're all users of transportation systems, right? We care about transportation security because we care about our own safety. And we also care about our privacy, right? Here is a video to tell you that people are working hard on the research of instrument to protect people's safety, to address the security of transportation systems. And there are also people who are sensitive to privacy issues. I'm not saying that that is a bad thing. It is a good thing. People should be careful with their own privacies. But you should also know that there is also this balance between people's safety and their own privacy. And you should also know that these instruments invented by scientists, by engineers, they are not there to violate you. Their main purpose is to protect the safety of the public with some sacrifice of people's privacy. Okay, I will just stop here, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.